Woo, beloved, beloved, beloved. To be human right now means to be together. And man, do we need one another right now, yes? I am filming this right now towards the end of October. It is before the election, and the felt experience of anxiety and grief and uncertainty is off the charts. And there is one thing that I can think of right now that you and I can dive into and rely on and find comfort in and find a little bit of solid ground. And it's each other. I am Reverend Amani Malaika, and let's talk about conscious community.
I think it's a perfect time to talk about community. I think it's a perfect time to lean into and come to terms with the reality that we need each other, as much as it pisses us off sometimes, right? That we rely on each other, that your decisions and your choices and my decisions and my choices mean something in each other's lives. We are not living on islands. We are not living inside little bubbles as much as we sometimes want to be. And that in this moment in history, in this moment in time, when we are watching it all fall apart in ways that are wildly heartbreaking and distressing, is a time when we need each other in ways that we can no longer deny, right? It's not play. It is time for us to really recognize this concept of oneness that we talk about a lot, right? This concept of inherent connectedness, interdependence, all really cool concepts. But all of those concepts are real, whether we are paying attention or choosing to be conscious in it or not. And we see the results of the unconsciousness. We see what's happening, not just across the world and across the planet, but look in your own life for unconscious community. Can you find it somewhere? Can you find the ways that being unconscious or being unwilling to admit the necessity of your connections with other human beings has caused harm? I see you guys nodding, because that's the thing. We are the micro of the macro, right? That is a key element of the way that I teach, because I believe it to be absolutely true that what you and I do, the unconscious or conscious decisions you and I make, absolutely are a reflection and reflect in the whole. So the micro of your life, your relationships, the communities you participate in, is absolutely reflected out in the world, yes? This thing that we sometimes feel so far away from, other people's suffering, the violence that is happening, the outright killing of people for money and a false sense of power that is happening in more places than I can count, is not separate from you and I right here in this room right now. Our inherent interconnectedness to all of life is more than a concept. It is part of this reality. The greater reality is what Ernest Holmes called it, the founder of Science of Mind. The greater reality. Ramai Shapiro in the World Wisdom Bible refers to it as the ultimate reality. It is not a mythical creature, this concept of oneness. This ultimate reality is a reality that you and I are a member of right now and have an effect on and are affected by. So when we talk about conscious community, we are talking about consciously participating in this ultimate belonging that we share with life, all of life. But we see it and experience and can touch it and kiss it and taste it and step on it right here. You know, my idea right now in the way that we participate in the ultimate reality, the way that we participate in this one life, is we love what we can reach, right? We love as far as our arms can go. That's our job right now. And it matters. It matters because oneness. It matters because you belong to the ultimate reality, and what you do has an impact. So I think one of the things that sometimes happens in times like these, when there's so much unrest and we're watching the fall of civilization and all of this systemic crumbling, which kind of has to happen. Anything out of alignment with truth has to fall. That's the deal. But as we are in it, it is so flipping uncomfortable. Mamma mia. That we can distract ourselves with the horror. And we can begin to feel so small in it that we think there's nothing for us to do. We can feel beat down and so diminished that we can actually hide in hopelessness. And that is not the call, my friends. If you have breath in your body, you have something to offer. If you have breath in your body, there's something for you to contribute to the greater good of life itself, period. The divine would have it no other way. That is the nature of the divine itself. Aliveness is literally the movement of love. The song we sang earlier, All Will Be Well, are the words of not Julian of Norwich, because her contemporary, von Hildebert, she wrote about that love itself is life. It is the matrix of spirit of the divine coming into form, and that is what she called love. So you and I are literally the manifest reality of love. That could not possibly be by accident. So when you find yourself hiding out in hopelessness, your job is to return to yourself, to return to that capital S self and remember the truth of who you are, because you are here by divine appointment. And your community is relying on you to return to yourself so that you can participate in all your glory in the greater good, as far as your arms can reach, as far as your love can grab that person in your community, in your family, in your workplace, in your neighborhood, and love them so thoroughly that you can see the greater good of the divine manifesting right before your eyes. Teresa of Avila, one of my favorite mystics, reminded us that we are the hands and feet of the divine. We are the way love shows up on this planet. We are the way that sense of hopelessness and sense of feeling lost and shook so deeply by uncertainty, the thing that moves us through that, the thing that makes the next step possible, is remembering that you have been appointed for a purpose, to be the hands and feet of the divine. But it's work right now. It is real work to come home, to return to center, to let the breath remind me, right, there is something bigger, there is something greater, and I belong to it. Rev. Angel Kyoto Williams, who I think is one of our great teachers on justice and race and spirituality, says that when I return to myself, when you return to yourself, you begin to participate in the life that we have together that makes this soup possible. She talks about that's when the cauldron can really start bubbling and bringing the ingredients together for deeper connection, for more meaningful relationships. Anybody make soup? Chili, curry, stew? So it's always better the next day, right? Because it needs time, right? To just like let all the things come together. Same with community. We need time together. We need to bump up against each other, right? It's like when you stir the soup and then things start to break down a little bit and then all of a sudden the broth is getting juicy. It's because there was friction. Yes, I am saying friction is good. Bumping into each other becomes the way we create deeper and more meaningful connection. That's when the soup starts getting good. Spiritual community has this incredible specific opportunity because we've already set an intention, right? Our name is spiritual living. We get together once a week to do this very spiritual thing. So there's this built-in intention that says, I am after wholeness. I come here because I am interested in my holy true nature. I am interested in a spiritual life. I am interested in walking my talk. And so because that's true, and we come together and do that in a room full of other humans, there's this awesome opportunity to let this be the practice ground for the greater reality to be the place where more love shows up. We truly get to be the micro of the macro. If we want to see a world that actually makes sure there's enough for everybody, that actually is a place where everybody gets to be safe and sheltered and fed and loved and accepted and celebrated, how do we do that if we can't do it here? As far as our arms can reach. It's an incredible opportunity, spiritual community. You know, we were talking in class yesterday. God, that was just yesterday. I feel like lifetimes have occurred. Lifetimes, Mamma Mia. We were talking about wanting to just take our ball and go home when things get hard. Anybody? Just things get hard in community, things get hard in a relationship, things get hard at your job, things get hard in your neighborhood, and you're like, F these people, I'm out. Right? How many just think we're gonna move? I'm leaving the country, forget about it. I got it, we're out, we're going to Costa Rica. My family and I have been like fully talking about it. If not us, who? If not now, when? And this, for me, spiritual community, I truly could have a different job. Trust me, I could have a different job. This is not the job I thought I was going to have when I was a kid. But the opportunity that spiritual community offers us every day, every week, over and over again, is to be the place, to be the way love shows up, and to practice it, because it takes practice. It sounds so like rainbows and unicorns. And as you know, it is rough work to be with other human beings. We are hard. It requires God to make it possible. It requires that greater reality, that something bigger that we can each agree to rely upon and let guide us because it is hard. Rev Angel went on to say in the same book, this is coming from Radical Dharma. She talks about when you actively and in public choose to be authentically and wholly and vulnerably who you are, you give me permission to show up and do it with you. You create a space of safety. You make me believe that it's possible for me to be whole and vulnerable and messy with you. That's the work, my darlings. And that is what I believe is the answer regardless of what happens on Tuesday. That is going to keep being the answer. Right? You vote, don't vote, whatever your thing is fine, because voting in a federal election is the bare minimum of participating in community, of offering your contribution. It is the bare minimum. Choosing to love as far as your arms can reach, as hard as you know how to love, and then some more. That is the call. That is the answer. So my invite to you is to leave today being willing to be the one who shows up vulnerably and authentically and wholly and messy, so that your very presence becomes the invitation to deeper and more meaningful connection. This is how your arms reach further and love more.